I'm Thomas Brooks, the developer of LithophaneMaker.com. A tool at Lithophane Maker helped Alan design this lithophane. Let me show you how to use that tool.
If this video gets enough likes, subscribes, comments, etc., then I will be adding an additional kind of flat lithophane, which would be a full color lithophane to LithophaneMaker.com. So if you guys want to have the ability to create a color lithophane, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. So the first thing you do is you go to LithophaneMaker.com over here, and you scroll down to the flat lithophane maker. Once you're at the flat lithophane maker tool, you pick your picture. So this is the picture I'm going to use. There are several different options. You have the frame option. This option gives you a frame without any additional features to the frame. You can see what it looks like here. You have the twine tunnels option. This option gives you a frame with a tunnel right here that you could put twine through or string, whatever you want, so that you could hang this from a hook. You have the hook tab option. This option gives you a hook tab on the top right here that you could put a hook through, or you could put a nail through. It's just another kind of hanging feature that's available. The no border option, this is just a regular old flat lithophane, no border around it whatsoever. Simple, lightweight, low filament. It's good oftentimes for putting into light boxes or other things that are designed to take this kind of lithophane. And the no border and printing stand option. We might get a sixth option down here, which would be a full color option if we get enough likes, subscribes, shares, etc. So I'm going to go with the no border and printing stand option because it is the most recent addition that I've made to LithophaneMaker.com. So I simply click on it. The picture isn't cropped the way that I want it to be cropped, so I'm going to increase the width to 225, and I'm going to increase the height to 150, so we end up with a pretty big lithophane. But you can see that we have this stand on the side of the lithophane that's automatically attached to make it so that even though the lithophane is large, it will still print without wobbling when it's printed in a vertical orientation. Now, scrolling down, here's the maximum thickness and the minimum thickness. Those are the maximum and minimum thicknesses of the lithophane surface, so that affects how bright your lithophane is at its lightest point and how dark the lithophane is at its darkest point. Now you see you have a stand thickness which corresponds to the thickness of this piece right here. So if you make the stand thickness 10, this piece is now 10 millimeters thick, which is very thick, and I don't actually need it to be that thick, so I'm just going to lower it back down to about 2. It should work. Then you have the stand angle, which is the angle between this line right here and horizontal. So if you were to make this 60, for example, then you'd have a wider base because this angle here now shrunk a little bit. If you were to make it 30, then you have an extremely wide base, and it's kind of absurdly wide. You don't need it to be that wide. And also, you'd end up with a sharp overhang, which might make it harder to print. So I suggest using about 60. So now you go down here and you can shift the cropping to the right and to the left with X shift, or up and down with the Y shift. I like how it's cropped right now, so I'm not going to make any adjustments to that. Finally, you just create the STL. So here's the lithophane that I'm actually going to print. It is a flat lithophane, but it also has a stand around the side, and the stand helps support the lithophane while you print it so that it does not wobble as much as it otherwise might. So you can see my settings. I have a layer height of 0.12 millimeters. I use a line width of 0.4. The diameter of my nozzle is 0.4 millimeters, so this is as low as I can safely go. The lower you go with this value, as well as this value up here, the slower your lithophane will print, but the higher quality it will print. And I use walls to make sure that the lithophane is solid. Some people use 100% infill, but I use walls because that makes it possible to save filament and print time when you're printing with a border or a frame like in the light boxes. In order to figure out how many walls you need, you take the maximum thickness of your lithophane, divide it by 2, and then divide it by your line width, then round up. So in my case, the maximum thickness of my lithophane is 2.8 millimeters, so I divide that by 2, and then I divide that by 0.4, and I get 3.5. So now if I round that up, then I will have thick enough walls to make the lithophane surface completely filled in. I typically include an additional wall line just to be safe, so even though that rounded up to 4, I'm going to use 5. And then of course you just hit prepare, and then you print it.
And this is what came out. Oh, wait a minute. I printed this lithophane a while ago. Where's the one that I just printed? Ah! This just goes to show that 3D printing lithophanes is tricky business. I'm going to check some common problems and get my printer working again. I'll explain issues that you might run into in a follow-on video that I'll link to in the top right. In the meantime, check out this awesome lithophane printed by Mark. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get the latest tools and to find out when my next video comes out, which will be explaining how to tune your printer to print lithophanes.